In this demo we are looking at some Alice in Chains acoustic and bass riffs to showcase these two preamp pedals. A factory for acoustics, B factory for bass from Sonicake. They're very competitively priced, both have a very decent feature set and very good build quality, although you do need to purchase an external power supply. They don't take batteries. If we take a closer look at the A factory here, over this side is the volume and the EQ. Hope I'm pointing these out the right way around. And you've also got these two. These are like notch filter controls, which allow you to fine tune the EQ or cut out unwanted noise and feedback. And then you also have an XLR out on the side, and then at the top you've got input jack and an output jack if you want to connect it up in your pedal board. And then if we take a closer look at the B factory, again you've got volume and 3-band EQ, but you also have compression and a switchable overdrive with these two controls here. So let's check out how they sound. Now setup is acoustic, straight into pedal, straight into my audio interface, no other processing whatsoever. And with the pedal disengaged we have this. So it's a decent sounding bass tone. This is a pretty decent electroacoustic, but the bass and the treble on this are just at 12 o'clock. The volume on the guitar is up full, okay? But I'm not going to touch any of the EQ with this. But with the pedal on and all the EQ at noon, pretty cool, right? But I want to tweak the EQ to get it a little closer to how Jerry's guitar tone sounds. So with these settings, check this out. And again, without the pedal. With the pedal. So it's not adding too much colour at all to the guitar's tone, but I found it good fun trying to dial in some of Jerry's acoustic guitar tones on, and he's used various acoustics as well, various settings unplugged on albums. So let's check that out with these settings. Gonna do some Down in the Hole. Again, without the pedal. With the pedal. I think it's really nice for just sculpting the tone. Let's add a little bit of reverb. You know, that's super subtle, isn't it? Now the lead part for Down in a Hole sounds like it's played on maybe a nylon string guitar. You know, it's got that stuff going on. You know, all that stuff going on. That was with the pedal. Without. Super bright, isn't it? So again, with the pedal. And we can also tweak that even further with the notch filter and frequency. So I've changed those as above. You can get quite a different tone, can't you? And you can also use that to isolate some frequencies if you're getting a load of feedback. But to be honest, I've tended to leave that well alone and just use the 3-band EQ really and the reverb. Let's do Got Me Wrong. That has a much brighter, fuller tone. I think he used a Guilds guitar live on the Unplugged. So with these settings, much brighter, right? Again, my original tone without the pedal. I'm going to make it even brighter. again, let's go through the reverb, seeing as we're playing live, aren't we? Both in the middle, we have this. Much more apparent, isn't it, with the strumming? Let's do the decay up full. Then let's go crazy, put the mix up full as well. Loads fuller, isn't it? That's great fun. So next up we're going to have a look at the bass preamp, B Factory. Now this bass has a bunch of options on it. I'm just leaving them as is, so I won't be touching any of the knobs on there. It's bass into the pedal, into the audio interface, same as before. This is without the pedal. And then with the pedal on. That's a much more interesting tone, isn't it? And I've used that for Rotten Apple in the intro there. So you can see with the EQ, I've cut the middle and increased the bass and treble. Like that. And there's also a bit of compression in there. Certainly sounds less lifeless than it does without the pedal. So it's adding some good stuff. And one of my favourite bass lines is Wood. And that's with the EQ all in the middle, okay? Again, without. So not a tremendous amount of differences there. But then when we tweak the EQ, so if I'm just gonna turn the bass, middle and the treb up a little bit. If you pick a little bit close to the bridge as well. Pretty cool, isn't it? Now let's look at the compressor. We've got a single knob for the compressor, and I'm going to play a little bit more sloppier. I know that was sloppy, but just to show you how you can use the compressor to sort of tighten things up, really. What a compressor will do essentially is reduce the sort of dynamics. So the range, if I'm playing some notes lots louder and some notes a lot quieter, what it'll do is it'll squeeze it into a narrower band. So you get a more consistent tone. Now with compression, you'd usually use that for slap bass, really. I can't slap to save my life. So I can't really show you slap bass because I am rubbish at it, but let me show you it with this example. And again, with the compression at 0. So I'm deliberately playing it a bit sloppier. I know my bass playing is sloppy anyway, but I'm playing it a little bit more sloppy so we can see how it sounds. So let's put the compression in the middle. I think it sounds tighter than it did before, and I'm playing the same way. I'm trying to anyway. This is the compression up full. Yeah, that's quite difficult to get it sound dodgy. As opposed to there with it at 0, right? So the comp's off now. Gets a lot louder, doesn't it? With the comp up full. So it's reduced the dynamic range, okay? So it's not even, I mean, that last one was clipping slightly with the comp fully up. It wasn't. One more example, and we'll have a quick look at the overdrive as well. We're going to look at Nutshell. It goes like this. Such a great bass line. Let's have a look at the blend and drive section. There's a foot switch called overdrive. So those knobs don't do anything unless that is enabled. So with the overdrive on, I mean, it's not adding a ton of drive particularly. Let's turn the drive right up. Blends right at noon actually. It's a bit more Muse, isn't it, I think, than Alice in Chains. You know, all that good stuff. Let's put the blend right the way up. Quite loud, so I've had to compensate and roll the volume off there slightly. So it's quite a nice little added feature to have. The fact you get EQ, compression, and a usable drive makes this pretty cool little package, I think. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. I'm just going to play you out with some acoustic noodlings a la Rotten Apple. See you soon.